Welcome to the Makeaway Podcast, where we believe there is God-given greatness in each and every one of us. We're on a mission to help you identify, harness, and amplify that greatness in you, starting by living out ours.
Hello, everyone. Today is a great day for another episode of our podcast, and we have a super special guest, if I do say so myself. He's in real estate, so I'm kind of nerding out over here. JD has made his mark with single-family rentals in the past 4 years. He is known online as Finance Cowboy and usually wears a big cowboy hat. He's a millionaire by 29 and he has 10x'd his income, and he has 75,000 followers on Instagram. Just a little bit about him. I know, Taylor, where's the applaud button? Woo!
I know. Hold on. Look at this fun new thingy we found, you guys.
We like to have fun here, so it's going to be fun and goofy today.
I love it. Yeah, you guys made me sound way cooler than I really am.
We think you're pretty dang cool.
I think you're pretty awesome.
And I feel bad. I literally, off screen, I can see my cowboy hats. I have two of them sitting right there. So if I need to put them on, you guys just tell me. I just didn't show up to my kid's school with a cowboy hat on. You know, it's not the coolest thing to do. So you let me know. We can make it happen.
I think it's necessary as a branding expert. I was disappointed to not see the hat. Sorry to interrupt your intro, Alyssa.
No, you're good.
Oh, no, we're good.
You guys didn't recognize him yet, but you're about to recognize him.
All right, how about that? Is that better? Is that better? All right. There we go.
He's here.
Oh, God.
Coach, always wear your hat in any media.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I was slacking today for sure. I got in trouble. I was at a conference not long ago, and I didn't have it on the first day, and people didn't recognize me at first, and then, I started mingling, and they were like, bro, what are you doing? Put the cowboy hat on. I was like, I really don't want to walk around this resort in Orlando with a hat on. They're like, you got to do it. That's what you've created. So here we are.
I love it. Well, JD, will you please tell your story a little bit, kind of where you started, where you're going, and just kind of your journey and what you've created?
For sure. So there's a lot. We could get into a lot of different, avenues, but I will try to keep it concise. I live in South Carolina. I grew up in a small town in South Carolina. My dad is a pastor, so I always preface with that. I didn't come for money. Nothing was handed down to me. Wasn't taught that much about money because pastors just don't make that much money. So we were never talking about investing and how to handle this, how to handle that. But throughout, what was important to me, through my childhood was baseball. That was my dream. My number one dream was to play Division I baseball. I was able to accomplish that. And what that did is it just gave me a drive. It taught me okay, if you want to achieve goals, then you have to be disciplined. You have to show up every day. You have to work, put in more work than the next person. And so I did that. And I achieved my goal playing Division I baseball, and I was like, okay, let's carry this into the working world. And so I graduate college, and I start at a company called Cintas, and I was a service rep. So I would drive. It's a uniform company if you've never heard of it. Cintas uniform, facility services. And so I would get to the plant at 4 a.m. every day, and I would go and deliver clean uniforms. I'd pick up the customers' dirty uniforms. I'd put down urinal cakes in guys' bathrooms and take the old ones out. It was so nasty. Floor mats, take the old floor mats out. It was an awful job. I was making $45,000 a year. I was up at 4 o'clock every morning. But what it did, number one, it taught me a lot about business because that role included a lot of things. But it also taught me that it's really easy to succeed in the business world if you just show up every day and do more than the next person, right? It was a little bit harder in athletics because you had a lot of high-performing people. It was more niche down. But in business, there's so many people who are comfortable, 99% of people. And so I was just doing what I'd always done in sports, going the extra mile. And within 6 months, I was a trainer, and I had sold a bunch of stuff on my route. Now I had the highest performing route. I was number 2 in the Southeast. And I was like, bro, this is awesome because I'm dominating everybody, but I'm also getting paid. What? Let's do this. And so anyways, I got tired of doing the grunt work, right? I was like, okay, I really like the sales portion of this job. I like connecting with people. I'm sick of being at the plant at 4 a.m. So let's get into something that's going to allow me to just focus on sales. So then I got into medical sales, started in pharmaceuticals, then got into medical device where I am currently today. I still work a W-2 job. I love my job, great customers, and plan on staying there for a while. And so along that journey, I, finally got my finances in order when my wife and I got married in 2014. We went and took Dave Ramsey. Don't agree with everything he says, but what it did is it gave us a good foundation to get rid of bad debt. So we spent, the next 4 or 5 years getting our finances in order, paying off bad debt, getting our emergency fund in place. And then by that point, we had done that, and my income had scaled a little bit, and it was like, okay, now we have extra money. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to be like everybody else in our hometown and go blow it on a boat, buy a big old truck, do this, do that, or are we going to invest it? And so we decided for 4 or 5 years to live unbelievably frugal, spend everything we had on real estate, because we decided that real estate was the asset class for us. Because if you look at history, the majority of people who have been wealthy who have invested in real estate. And we took the plunge, scaled to 22 properties in 3 years. Started in 2018, got to our 22nd property in 2021, and then I started Finance Cowboy in July of 2021. The brand's kind of taken off, and it went from being a hobby to a actual potential business. And so that's how I landed on this podcast today. Hopefully that wasn't too long, but maybe I'll give you guys some info so we can go from there.
So that's because that was one of my questions. So for the properties, so you have 22 of them. Mm-hmm. And then how many are single family comparative to Airbnb? So
I have a one Airbnb now. So I had 2, but I bought my second one for $287,000 last year. And 365 days later, a guy offered me $460,000. And so I normally don't sell properties, but I was like, I'll make quick almost 200. We'll go ahead and sell that, So I'm down to one Airbnb at this point. But then I have, if I can do the math right, 13 or 14 single family long-term rentals. And then I have a mini mobile home park that has 7 mobile homes on it.
So nice. Fun. That's awesome.
I love it.
Yes.
And do you think there was I know that you were working on your finances and you wanted to kind of invest the extra money that you did have. Was there like a back against the wall or just pivot point where you were like, we have to do something greater with our life? Or was that just kind of the drive that you guys had all along?
I mentioned in my quick overview that I was just driven anyways. And so like when you have somebody like that, your passion or your drive has to go somewhere. And, I started working and got into medical sales, and we were starting to make a better income. And I was like, bro, like, are we going to live paycheck to paycheck? Essentially, it wasn't quite that bad, but like, are we going to be broke forever, or are we going to do something about it? Because I know I have the potential to earn even more. And if we manage this correctly, like, I could be doing what I want sitting on a beach at 33, 34, and I think that kind of hit me. And so that's when we decided to take it serious and turn the ship around.
That's so cool. Can you tell us a little bit? I love that. So part of what I'm really excited to hear from you is people hear that, he was a successful athlete, he was a successful salesperson, and he just decided. It sounds so simple, but the thing that caught my eye and that I think would be really valuable is talking about in your marriage, even if you'd be willing to chat about that, like, how did you guys make that decision together? Was it a team effort? Where's your wife at in this process? Because while we want people to have successful businesses, we also want them to have thriving and full marriages and relationships and the rest of their life. And so that's an element that I would love to learn more about if you'd be willing to share.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a good analogy or not, but like you want to hire well on the front end, right? And so what I mean by that is you're not hiring a wife or a husband, but like it's super helpful if you do some vetting process on the front end. Like people just like, have a child and get married or just decide to get married all of a sudden. It's like, are you compatible? Are you not? So that was key for us, getting to know each other, kind of knowing what our goals were. But even then there's challenges to everything, right? After you get married, and you never see eye to eye on everything. But one of the things we did is I guess we showed interest in each other's stuff, so I would be interested in what she was interested in. And then at the time for me, I was interested in getting our finances in order. And so she would kind of tag along with me. And so like early in our marriage, we got married in July of 2014. I would say we were in a Dave Ramsey class by September. And so just from the beginning of our marriage, you have to choose, like, how are we going to build this foundation? I'm all about building strong foundations. That's why I like long-term rentals. I was like, okay, this Dave Ramsey class is like a strong foundation for us. Okay, she's going to listen to him. I'm going to listen to him. We're going to get aligned and build that foundation. And so we just started really early. And then, I more care about the finances than she does. Okay, she probably didn't even have the login to half of our stuff, but she's still involved. But I always just kept like podcast on. We're on trips, Dave Ramsey podcast, or How I Built This by Guy Raz. It's a podcast on building businesses, real estate podcast. And so just kind of like for our scenario, it was keeping her, around it, and then just talking through what our goals were. And she, it can be tough because we were very frugal, and like that causes a lot of issues in marriage. It's like, the husband wants to go spend money, the wife wants to get everything straightened up, or vice versa. You really have to work together, or it can cause issues. But I'll tell you, more issues come from not having money, right? By not handling it correctly. And so you would rather have a little tussle on the front end and then go and get your money right, because it's going to mitigate the larger issues that are going to come later.
That's good. I'm like, can I snap, clap? What can I do? That was awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Where's the button, Taylor?
Where's the button? I'm not going to mess with the buttons. It'll just Good stuff. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So another question I have, was there a point where you were like, okay, this is going to be the trajectory of where we're going? Like, was it when you built you started your brand of Finance Cowboy, or was it so many properties and you were like, okay, we're doing this, like, we're going to make it this way?
Yeah, it's such a long process. So Taylor kind of said it like it all sounds easy. It's not. It's not. I tried so many different things before, I've kind of landed on something that I feel like, okay, this has like some legs under it, when I was making very little money, when I started in pharmaceutical sales, I'm out doing a side hustle, doing pressure washing. When I was at Centos, I had a side hustle where I was delivering fruit. I've sold software sales on the side. And so it's like, the trajectory wasn't necessarily clear for the longest. It was just like, I know I want to get ahead. Let's do some extra stuff and see what sticks. At one point I started like building out a business model to do in-home haircuts, like just wild stuff, and spent weeks and weeks and weeks on it. And so, like, it's okay if you don't know, what is my trajectory right now. Just know that the trajectory you want is going to go up, and then try stuff and see where it goes, what interests you. And then I think it starts to get clear after a while. Now, the trajectory for real estate was clear for us when we had extra money. Like, we dove in and I looked at stocks. I looked at real estate, obviously crypto, not excited about that. But I just am super practical, and hey, this is what the majority of people have done who are wealthy, and so I'm going to copy them. And so that was clear. And then clarity on the brand, like I said, has come over time, just trying different things. And it is, now it's, we're all in running with this thing.
I love it. Can I ask a two-part question?
Yeah.
So I want to know where Finance Cowboy originated from. Tell the story of that, because it's super fun and that's your brand. Start there.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to get caught by this family member at some point telling this story on all these podcasts. He hasn't approached me yet. I'm actually going to see him this weekend, but hopefully he doesn't listen to any of these podcasts. But I started investing in real estate in 2018, right? I'm a little more wild card, rough around the edges, sales guy, whatever. This family member of mine is more buttoned up. He's an unbelievably smart guy. He's older than I am. He's an executive in a prestigious hospital. And so he was just investing in his 401k. And so I've been trying to get him to invest in real estate for years. And he just kind of blew me off. I don't know if JD knows what he's doing. We'll see how this works out for him. And so finally I just gave up. I was like, you know what? Whatever. He's not going to invest in real estate. It's not my job to do it, get him to do that. And so fast forward to 2021 around June, he starts randomly texting me Instagram videos from this like 26-year-old who had 30,000 followers who was teaching people to invest in index funds. And because this 26-year-old had 30,000 followers and had clout, now this family member of mine who wouldn't listen to me on real estate is now buying index funds. But not only is he buying index funds, he is sending them to me and saying, I need to listen to this guy and buy index funds. Now, mind you, my net worth at the time was like 8 times what this dude was like eight times more than the guy who was sharing these index funds, but it didn't matter. He had clout on social media. And so after I got off the initial shock of like, okay, like this is ridiculous. I was like, you know what? I need to go try this. I need to get on social media and start posting stuff because I have experience. And so I actually started it under the name the Million by 30 Coach. I'm 31 right now, but we became millionaires at 29. And I ran with that for a couple months. And I realized it's kind of too niche. And so I'd just been thinking, what's a different name? And I was putting my cowboy boots on one day, and the name Finance Cowboy hit me. And I was like, you know what? Let's roll with that. Like, I feel like that's a pretty good brand. So I rolled with it, put a cowboy hat on, and I, got in front of the camera. And a lot of what I was doing at the beginning was talking about personal finances in general. But it was interesting because then I would mix in my real estate stories, and the market, like Instagram, the people on Instagram were asking me for more real estate stories. Like, the market pushed me there. And so then I really dove in on teaching people how to invest in rentals. And I still keep it broad. I talk about sales and personal finances and marriage and kids and everything. But real estate's definitely the backbone of it all.
That's so fun. I think you should tell that family member that story.
He knows. He's well aware. Don't worry. I just don't know if he would like if I'm telling everybody this on podcast. But I never say his name, so he'll be okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's protected.
Yeah.
We'd never know. So you said 2 really important things that I want to make sure that people heard and that they articulate correctly is that you made a change. You started, but you made a change. And I know, I feel like I know a lot about you because you're that serial entrepreneur. You're going to work your ass off no matter what you're doing, which is awesome. And so I think sometimes in that space, I'm very similar, both Alyssa and I'm more of the creative side. So I get these ideas and I'm like, I can do this business and that business.
Yeah.
And I just want people to know that that's okay. That Look at you now. You didn't just decide, I'm going to go on Instagram, be Finance Cowboy. I'm going to get a bunch of followers. I'm going to make a bunch of money, have this multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio. That's not the reality of what happened.
Yeah.
You found the success. You found the success and started doing it offline and then determined to share. And then the other part is that you tried and failed multiple things. And maybe not even failed. It was supplemental. And that's what got you ultimately to there. And I think that's such an amazing thing, and that's such an accomplishment. And I think that's really important for people to hear, especially when we see even people like you. Like, it's easy to look and, like I said earlier, be like, oh, must be so easy, he's so successful, has all this money. But it was so much trial and error and so much hard effort into multiple areas, and I commend you for that. And I just wanted to really make that point to those who are listening today.
Yeah, thank you. And I will add to that. I mean, that's a great breakdown. Consistency too. Like, for example, there's something to give you an example on this brand. I started the Finance Cowboy brand July of 2021. January of this year, I had 5,000 followers. So how many months is that? August, September, October, November, 6 months. Wow. So for 6 months, I'm grinding in the trenches. Okay? Just getting to 5,000 followers. Well, then, boom, I have my first video hit and go semi-viral, and I pop up to 25,000. Well, then I go for a couple more months, nothing, just slow growth. Boom, get another pop, and then get another pop. And it's like that would have never happened if I wouldn't have been active and shown up every single day. And, if you do that in every area of your life, you're going to have a lot of success.
Yeah. So good. People think it's just magic. I'm in the deep trenches. I'm not even to 3,000. And I have moments where I'm like, am I going to post this video again today? 10 people are going to like it. And I work so stinking hard on it. And it's just, I'm going to do it.
No, you got to do it. Literally, I've been working on TikTok since I started Instagram, essentially a little bit later. And I just now am popping off. And when I say popping off, I had 3,000 followers this week. I'm about to 8 because I've had 2 videos kind of hit. And it's like, nice. I'm grinding there. I hadn't started podcasts. I hadn't started YouTube. I'm going to have to get in the trenches on there again. And it's just like, if you can just build that consistency into your routine and just know, hey, I am bullish on this. I'm not seeing any outcome, from my input yet. But I'm going to. I haven't monetized Finance Cowboy. I mean, people buy my little rental property calculator, but I'm not making big bucks off of that. It's like, so I've been doing this for a year and a half, essentially as a hobby. But I believe in the future of it. So you just got to have that belief and show up every day.
So good.
So good. And here I am. I'm just trying to get consistent. Taylor's like, you need to be better about social media. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's not fun. I can share you guys some tips and tricks, either online or offline. But it is it's a grind, it definitely is a grind in anything you do, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. On top of Alyssa, I know you have a couple more questions. I just want to go on this thread if you wouldn't mind. But one of the things, the posts that I've seen from you, I've been following you for a few months now. Alyssa showed me your page, and we just nerd out on your content because I love it. But honestly, you share so much value. But one of my favorite posts is when you were like, hey, by the way, I still work a full-time day job.
Yep.
And not only do I work a full-time day job, I work a very intensive, like I know the sales world, and to do what you're doing takes so much time, energy, and commitment. And then on top of that, going home, managing your real estate portfolio, and then staying consistent and showing up. I thought that was really incredible because, and maybe I'm even guilty of this in like the personal development space and in the creator economy. It's very popular to say, well, we'll quit your job and do this thing, like just go for it. And that's not everybody's story.
Yep.
So I would love to know more about, you said in your intro, like I plan to stay here for a while. Financially, you could leave and be fine. So what's keeping you there?
I enjoy it. And, I'll tell you, especially when you're starting, your job can be like a superpower that funds everything else. And so that's what I've done. I've kept this stable job and been able to fund real estate. I've kept this stable job and been able to fund Finance Cowboy. I've kept this stable job and I have a little insurance business on the side, and I've been able to fund that. And so it's not, I feel like people get stuck in this escapee mentality too often. It's like, I need to escape what I'm in. And then they miss out on the entire journey, and then they burn out and they never even get to the destination they want. And so there is nothing wrong with working a job. Social media will tell you otherwise. Most of these guys talking about how they quit their job and they're making bank, they're not. It's just, it takes a while to build up a business, and there's nothing wrong with doing both. And that's my messaging with real estate specifically is, you do not have to do real estate full time. You can build a lot of wealth doing it part time. And so don't ever feel like you have to quit your job. I will say, you mentioned it, there's a lot going on. I got my full-time sales job. I got, Finance Cowboy. I got the real estate portfolio, insurance stuff. And then I have a family, and we're involved in church, and I'm involved in the community. And so what it does, and you'll hit these different, levels, so to speak, in your life where you get stretched if you push yourself to it. Then you'll pretty much almost have a breakdown if you're like me, but then you learn to restructure your life, and it allows for more growth. And so I've had a couple of those throughout my life where I've hit my wall, and I'm like, I don't know how I add anything else to my plate, but I know if I want to get to where I'm going or where I want to go, then I'm going to have to. And so you kind of take a step back, and that's where you get those systems in place to be able to accomplish more in a day, to hit all your goals.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's things that you love, I imagine. Like you enjoy the real estate, you enjoy it is a grind, but you enjoy the community or the contribution of putting out those videos, right?
For sure. I absolutely love it.
That's amazing. Otherwise, how could you survive?
Exactly. Yeah. If you're miserable, you definitely don't want to do it. You're not going to be able to sustain it. So, for sure.
Very cool. I love it. Back to you, Alyssa.
Okay. No. Another question I had, and you may have kind of touched on this just a little bit here when you were talking about like you've had breakdowns, but what has your biggest challenge been mentally and then business wise?
My biggest challenge mentally, and I kind of put a post on this, I guess it was last night, is like the balance, like dad guilt, so to speak. Yeah, it was last night. I put a post on this. You can go read it. But it's like,
I was wondering if that was what it was going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing you asked because it's fresh on my mind. It's like I have 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2, and they're all boys, and I got a girl on the way. So I'm about to have 4 kids. And so the biggest challenge for me mentally is like giving them what they deserve. And I'm biased. I think we're great parents, even if nothing changed. But it's like there's days where they get leftovers. I'm tired, been working all day. And it's like taking a step back, seeing what's important, and, making sure that I'm balancing work and family without neglecting either. Because I feel like, people go to the extreme. It's like I just want to be there, for my family all the time, and they never chase their dreams, and they kind of like die inside, so to speak. And then you got other people, they're going all week, and then they're never there for their family. And, it's just awful scenario there. So finding that balance mentally has been huge for me. And then business wise, oh man, I would say setting up the systems, and I just hit on it, setting those systems in place so that I can work as effectively as possible, because I am the entrepreneur spirit, which means I'm not very good at systems, right? I'm like Taylor just said, I get an idea and then we just run with it. And then I look and I've like got 4 different ideas and I'm like, oh crap, how do I sustain all of them? And so that's been my biggest issue, is like delegating, putting those systems in place, who, not how, who can help me, instead of how can I get it done. And, that's been, and I'm still in that journey right now. And it is a battle every day for me.
I love it. Even in the success
I like
people.
systems.
Listen, I know, that's why we have Alyssa around. Because I'm
Yeah.
like you. I'm like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, she'll do it.
Taylor's like, and I'm like, okay, here's the steps that we need to take.
Yeah, that's awesome. I actually just brought on, he's coming to my house today, a great buddy of mine that I work with in medical sales. And he's kind of like the COO now. Like, we're both working for free. He's like, I believe in your brand. We'll hop on and help you out. And so he's taken a lot of the bull crap that I was having to do, and now he's running with it. So that's been like step 1 for me, and you got to have that person like Alyssa, they are the ones who allow the business to grow and operate while it's growing.
Yeah. Who, not how is so good. It could have saved me so much energy, because especially whether you're a full-time entrepreneur or part-time, whatever you're doing, we're so capable of doing it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we should. It's not always the best use of our time.
Yep.
And I talk to a lot of people where they're at that space in their business or their venture where it's like, well, I can't afford to hire someone. And I'm like, yeah, but you can't afford to not hire someone.
Exactly.
You'll never grow if you don't find the who, right?
It's scary. I relate it to buying that first rental property. Like, I was so scared to buy it. Then when you do it, you're like, thank God I did it. Why'd I wait so long? Same thing with bringing somebody on. You're so nervous. Like, is the ROI going to be there? They're going to be able to pick up slack that I'm letting drop. And then if you hire right and you do it, it's totally worth it, because the business can grow now.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Can you give us, like, I know it's very complex, but for our listeners who maybe want to jump into the space, can you give them like a real estate investing 101? How do you recommend people go about it, and how do they get that first deal done?
Oh, wow. That is a in-depth question right there. Well, just go sign up for my mentorship. Okay. That will give you everything that you need in a short amount of time. Everything that took me 4 years to learn, and longer, actually, you'll learn in a few weeks. But free tips right here. I'll kind of give you the outline of what I teach people, and maybe I can dig in if you guys want to ask. But number 1, we got to learn real estate. So we got to learn the lingo. Like, you got to know what you're talking about. So listen to podcasts, read books. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a great book to start when it talks about leveraging other people's money. Bigger Pockets podcast is a great real estate. Like, that's what I used to listen to when I was first starting. And then just any real estate book. Like, I just would Google real estate books and learn about rental property investing. Then we got to learn, like, where do we go to buy rentals? Like, what types of neighborhoods? And then once we narrow that area down, how do we find properties? If we live in a big city like Spokane, Washington, or Phoenix, Arizona, there's probably not as many good rentals as there are in Anderson, South Carolina. So how do we invest out of state? How do we get lending? Whether it be private money, bank, hard money, how do we close? How do we manage these properties after we get them? So there's a whole process to it, and there's so many different layers for each kind of bullet on the outline. But I would say to start, you need to learn everything you possibly can and just start networking. Like, join local real estate groups in your hometown. You can get on Facebook. Every town is going to have a real estate group in their town on Facebook. Get with people on social media like myself, other people who are invested in real estate. Reach out to investors in your hometown. And just really start immersing yourself in the lingo, and then you can take the next steps from there.
Can anyone be a real estate investor?
Yes. Let me take that back. Yes. Yeah. Maybe not right now. They may have to do some stuff before they're ready to go. But I think everybody's capable of it. I always tell people, there's a lot of people who preach buy real estate with other people's money, which I do. I think it's a great strategy. I just bought 2 properties this month using somebody else's money, right? But you also don't want to be completely broke and your finances not in order and go buy real estate. Or invest in general, if you ask me.
And owe someone money with a high interest rate.
Exactly. So I think it's important to clean. If you hear my story, I really hit on how we cleaned up our finances, then invest, cleaned up our finances, then invest. Right. Get your crap in order. Like, if you can't even manage your own personal stuff, what makes you think you're allowed to go manage a rental property where somebody's going to live and, scale from there. So. Mm-hmm.
That's great advice. Listen up, everyone. Just bombs dropping left and right today.
So JD, when is your mentorship gonna
That's a
launch? Do you have
great
date
question. That is a great question.
And what is it?
We should just decide
Yeah,
it
and what
right
is it?
here.
Tell us
You want
about
me? What do you mean? Like, what's the name and all? All right, so we'll come up with a date here. What's today? Today's the 26th. We're going to try and launch the week of Black Friday. So I'm not going to give a hard date on here because I may miss it, but that is our goal. So what is that? The week of...
Are we talking Cyber Black Friday? Because Black Friday starts like October 31st now, so...
No, we're
Actual
talking
Black
about...
Friday.
We're talking about the week like Thanksgiving, like that week or before. So I'm working hard to get it out. I told you guys, I think it was offline, but I just finished my last recording that I needed to do. So now it's just waiting on the editor to send it all back to me, getting all the landing pages set up, the funnels, blah blah blah. All the technical stuff. So hopefully by the end of November, you can join my waitlist. If you go to my Instagram @FinanceCowboy and just message me waitlist, it'll send you a link. You can sign up and you'll be notified and you'll get a discount when it comes out. And then the course is called the Rental Academy. And so I'm going to teach you guys how to buy and manage rentals. And a lot of it's catered towards long-term rentals, but we also have a bonus section on all things Airbnb. I'm very familiar with that, so I'm going to teach you how to find, buy, manage Airbnbs, get 5-star reviews, handle bad tenants, everything. So you'll walk out of there knowing how to get into the Airbnb space, and then also do a house flipping 101 section. So people who want to flip houses, there's a lot of similarities to buying rentals. Other than you turn around and sell the property. And so I kind of spell those out and what you need to look for and how to manage contractors. And then I talk about life insurance as well, just as a bonus module, because I think it's that important for every person to have at least a term life policy in place. Last thing you need is you to pass away and your family be grieving. And now they're broke because they don't have any money. So we can eliminate that issue with a low cost term life insurance.
I love it. I can't wait.
Love it.
DM, wait.
I'm on
Are you? I can't wait either. I am so stoked. I'm telling you guys, I've been working on this since like February. I am like so, I don't want to say the word sick of working on it because it's such good information, but I am so tired of sitting in front of a microphone talking about it. So I'm ready for people to learn, and then the mentorship is just going to be great. That's what it really is. It's a mentorship with pre-recorded modules, but to have that community and then have myself and my team members to be there to just hold people's hand like that. I had a best friend who helped me in real estate. If I wouldn't have had him, I don't know if I'd have bought. He pushed me over the edge to make that buy, and that's what I'm going to do for hopefully hundreds, if not thousands of people.
That's so great. You're really
I love
embodying the mission of what we want to do here. So Make a Way is, both Alyssa and I come from similar backgrounds where we didn't have a lot. And so the village made a way for us, the people helping our parents, the people who were filling in the gaps where maybe they couldn't financially, energy-wise, whatever it was. There are so many people in our lives who made a way for us to find success and to amplify the God-given greatness in us. And you're such a walking example of that. And I really want people to understand the value, because just with everything that's available to us, I think sometimes it can get lost in the noise. But you put 4 years and what I know is probably hundreds of thousands of dollars that you tried, trial and error, lost and gained, into this course. So I'm assuming it will not be free.
No, it will not be free.
Good. Okay. Just want to set that table.
But I do have a lot of free resources.
I love it. Lots of free resources, but don't just understand the value, people, of what you're getting, is you don't have to go through the 4 years. You can go through this program, have JD's resources, and the money that you can make long-term. Real estate is long-term, right? It's going to be so valuable. So if you've thought about getting into it and you're just like, I need help, I don't know anybody in that world, don't let that limit you. This is going to be a really great resource from someone who isn't just preaching, is practicing it. And what's your portfolio now?
22 properties.
Okay, so the guy knows what the heck he's talking about. Okay, so get on that wait list, go through the program. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much.
There's your free advertising.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I second all of that. And I'll tell you, it's not going to be free, but it is what I'm setting it at a price. Like, it's got to be worth my time. So it's not a low end course, not like a $97 or $300 course. It's expensive. Yeah. But when we're talking about the real estate space, it's what you're going to invest to learn. You're going to make back very, 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 very quickly. And so that's kind of the goal with my pricing. I mentioned earlier I bought a property last year and sold it for $200,000 more this year. It's like you can invest, you can invest a little bit of money to be able to do things like that,
Yep. Yeah, you just got to be brave enough and have the resources, and
exactly.
Everybody can do it. Cool.
So I have one last question. I want to know, because I love systems. How did you create the 19-point checklist? If you can explain that a little bit for our listeners, how did you create it, and maybe share how many properties you had to go through to finally, was it like your first property, or like, okay, these are all the questions, or was it like a progression of you building?
Great question. So, I came up with a 19-point checklist, like you said, over time. Okay. So, my mentor, my best friend who got me into real estate, he walked me through my first deal. And so he helped me analyze those numbers. He sent me his rental calculator and told me everything that I needed to account for. Well, then I go and I buy my second property, and probably third property. I can't remember exactly, which one it was, but I kept having to call him, and I was leaving things out of my pro forma. I'd forget to put insurance in there. I'd forget to put property management in there or whatever. So finally I sat down and I called him. I was like, all right, give me a list of everything I need so I don't have to keep calling you every time I'm looking at a property. And so we talked through it, and that's how I built out that 19-point checklist, because it helps. Like, it was made to help me. It was literally stop skipping over stuff, because I am a huge proponent of analyzing your numbers. If you don't have your numbers right on the front end, you're going to end up screwing yourself. And so I wanted to be certain that I had everything accounted for, so that when I went to buy that property, I know what my actual returns are. And so then I was a couple months ago, and I was like, I don't really have anything, real estate wise, other than the rental property calculator that I'm offering people. Like, I need to just throw a little brand coloring on this and then give it to everybody. And so that's what I did. And I think, we've had probably, 5,000 people download it, somewhere in that ballpark. And it's been super helpful for a lot of folks. And that was the whole point of it. And my next guide, it's pretty much done. I think I'm about to launch it this week, is a guide on obtaining private funding. Because that is the biggest question I get, is, well, how do you find a private lender? And so, you know what? I'm going to help people at least get their juices flowing, and then we really dig into it in the mentorship as well.
Very cool.
That's
They're
awesome.
everywhere. Where can people get your 19-point checklist?
You can go to 19pointchecklist.com and download it there, or you can DM me the word checklist, or go to the link in my Instagram or TikTok bio.
Very cool. I have one final question for you. As a real estate professional, it would feel I would be doing people a disservice if we didn't talk about this, but there are a lot of question marks about the market. What is your blanket advice for people, just with the uncertainty as investing goes in real estate? Yeah,
that's a good question. And, I've thought a lot about it from my personal self, because I didn't buy anything in 2021. The market was so hot. And then also I was building Finance Cowboys, so that was, part of my stuff was pulled away. But I have just closed on 2 properties this month, and I am on the prowl. Like, I am going to buy. Yeah. Because when you look at the different cycles, we've been in that hot cycle, right? So it hasn't been the best time to buy necessarily, but it's been a fantastic time to sell, Mm-hmm. And so I think we're now on this we're down on this curve that we're going back down. The prices are dropping and homes are starting to sit longer. And so we can get good deals again. And so because supply has still been low, rents haven't been dropping. Rents have actually still been going up. So that kind of fights off the high interest rate argument I hear all the time. Well, how do I buy properties with, the interest rates being so high? These interest rates are more normal than what we were seeing. Like, I don't know if we'll ever see interest rates. I don't know if we'll ever see interest rates at what we saw them. Like, that was not normal. And so when I started buying properties, I normally buy my properties on commercial loans, not conventional loans. And that's a whole subject in itself. But interest rates when I started in 2018 for a commercial loan were 5.75. I just locked up a property earlier this month at 5.25, and then they jumped again. And this last one I got like right at 6. And so they're not outlandish. Like this is just normal for investing. It's all a numbers game. And so because these homes are starting to sit longer, the price is going to drop, and people are like real jittery right now. They kind of want to get rid of them before anything else happens. And so the 2 properties I've bought this month, one of them I got for 45,000 under asking, 40 or 45,000 under asking, and the other I got for 30,000 under asking because I watched them. I saw that when the day they came on the market, I waited till they'd been on for around 30 days or so, and then I just made a lowball cash offer with private money. And they're only going to continue dropping, I believe, over the next year. That doesn't mean wait, because if you can do like I did and get them $30,000, $40,000 under asking already to where they're probably going to drop to, here in the next year or so, why wait? But anyways, I'll say all that to say it's a fantastic time to buy real estate, and it's only going to get better. So you need to know what you're doing because this is where you make a lot of money.
A freaking man. That's going to be the promo clip. Selfishly, listen to JD. If you don't listen to me, listen to him. That's fine.
Oh, that's funny.
Very cool. That's the end of my question. I mean, I could sit here for 3 hours, but no, I just want to say thank you.
I know, totally.
Thank you so much for being willing to give us your time and attention. I know it's very valuable, very, very valuable, and I know that people are going to get just so much value out of this. So thanks for what you're doing. Keep it up. If there's anything we can ever do to help, we're here for you. We're in your corner. We're fans. We're learning, and just really excited for the future and what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for having me. I love what you guys are doing with your podcast, and I'm honored to be a guest. So if anybody listens to this and you need help, reach out to me. Instagram's probably the best way, or my website, financecowboy.com. I'm here to help, and look forward to meeting you guys.
Thank you. And don't forget to get on the wait list, DM him waitlist, and then Rental Academy will be out on Black Friday.
Yes. Let's go.